Welcome back to another episode of the Beauty Expanded podcast. Now, this episode is going to be a little bit different because I'm actually bringing you behind the scenes at one of our mentorship coaching calls. Now, for those of you who don't know, we run a mentorship program. It's part of our signature training program where aspiring artists come in, train with us for 5 days, and then are immediately enrolled in a year-long mentorship with us. This mentorship includes these monthly coaching calls. Not only do I share current case studies of clients that I'm currently working on and camouflaging, just so that way I can help continue the education of my artists and our mentees, but we also bring guest speakers on. This one in particular was a bonus Q&A with Sean from Apollo Inc., also known as Mr. Bye Bye Stretch Marks on Instagram. Sean was so kind enough to join us for a bonus Q&A where he shared a lot of the things behind his new stretch mark rejuvenation serum that just got released in the market today for all camouflage tattoo artists. Super exciting. I actually got to meet him in person a month ago. He was in town in Arizona, stopped by, and I got to ask him a ton of questions about his serum that he was able to give me. And as you'll listen in on this episode, I was able to actually test out on my assistant, Michaela, who is healing beautifully. So you'll hear about that experience. But so far, I love it. And after talking with Sean and just catching up, I asked him, hey, this is all really great information. I'd love to share this with our mentees. Would you be open to joining one of our coaching calls? And he was game. And that is what you're going to be listening to. So a couple of things to keep in mind. We do our monthly coaching calls on Zoom. And so to transfer it onto our podcast software, it doesn't come out as crisp as this audio that you're listening to right now. So just keep that in mind. That's the only thing with the Zoom coaching calls is when we do end up using them for podcast episodes, the resolution is just not super crisp. And if you end up talking over someone or just responding, it can get kind of wonky. Keep that in mind as you're listening in. I felt like the information he shared, not only about his own background and his start into the paramedical tattoo space, but also about all the cool things that his serum offers. He talks about the ingredients. Our mentees ask really great questions as well. We talk about numbing. Do you numb your clients? If so, why or why not? We talk about scar lightening and a bunch of other things that I think are going to really help you as an artist, as well as give you access to what makes his serum so unique in the marketplace and how it can better serve the clients that you tattoo. In the show notes, we also share where you can buy his product and how you can connect with him online. I hope you enjoy, and I'd really love to hear what you think. So welcome to one of our monthly coaching calls. Hi, I'm Jade Hernandez, a camouflage tattoo artist and educator. I help beauty bosses effectively market their business and become the authority in their field, close more leads, and make more money. In the past 6 years, I've launched 2 successful beauty businesses to multiple 6 figures with over 100 5-star raving reviews and several media press spotlights. While most marketers will tell you to hustle and work harder for success, I'll show you how to create more value from the inside out so that you work less, make more, and truly expand and transform your business and life. This is the Beauty Expanded podcast. I'll go ahead and introduce you. So Sean and I have been camouflage tattooing for a while. Sean is also known as Mr. Bye Bye Stretch Marks as Apollo Inc. And actually for the longest time, up until a couple weeks ago, I actually thought his name was Apollo, and everyone else does, but his name is Sean. And we've been supportive of each other on social media. We finally got the opportunity to meet in person last month. He was actually in town in Arizona, stopped by really late, and was kind of filling me in on his new stretch mark rejuvenation serum for inkless. And so that's what we're here to talk about today. I've already asked him a ton of questions, and so some of it you'll probably repeat with me, but I thought that's a really great opportunity for us to do a Q&A with him as well, because I tried it out on Michaela, and she's been healing amazingly and really, really fast. And one of the things that makes Sean's inkless serum different is that he has noticed, and this was just happenstance, that he noticed clients healing really, really fast. And it's funny because I remember asking Sean, "Are you claiming that?" And he's like, "I'm claiming it." I was like, "Okay, great." And
Yep,
so
I'll stand behind it.
we tried it on Michaela. Now, the interesting thing about Michaela, I was hoping that she was going to join in today, but that's okay. And I'm going to be showing you her before and after photos. So Michaela had used our inkless serum, our method, the first time on herself. And it took her probably a good 30 days to fully heal. And so then on the other cheek, because she only done one part of her butt cheek, when we used or Apollo's inkless serum, we used it on the other side to really just track not only the results, but then also the timeline of how quickly she's healing. Where she's at, so last Friday was her official 2-week post-treatment. And I would say she's like 90% healed. So she definitely feels she's healing much faster. Why don't you first start off where you'd like to in regards to how long you've been doing this, what motivated you into starting your inkless serum, and then we'll get into the nitty gritty on why or what makes it different than the other stuff that may be out there.
Yeah, of course, of course. So first of all, again, I'm Sean McDonald is my last name. A lot of people do refer to me as Apollo. I wish it's a pretty cool name, but no, I also go by Mr. Bye-Bye Stress Force, probably what I'm most known for. I do want to also take a second and just thank you for the opportunity to be here and talk to your mentees. And it really means a lot to be able to have this opportunity and share the product that I've been busting my rear to create. The way it's come about, so I got introduced to the industry technically through SMP. I started off with SMP back in 2021. And shortly after, I found out about camouflage, and camouflage really interested me for scars. I actually thought I was never going to work with stretch marks, to be honest. The course I ended up taking did cover English stretch mark camouflage, which in my opinion is a mouthful. And that's why I referred to it as stretch mark rejuvenation, or SMR for short. But it covered camouflage for scars and stretch marks. Shortly after taking that class, I started witnessing the potential for stretch marks, and then ended up just hitting the ground running with that. And that became my lane, my specialty. One thing I noticed early on was how nuanced this service was at its time, and still is. It's still in its infancy phase. And a great thing was I'm sitting there looking at all these different ingredients that everybody's using, and I didn't want to write off that they were the best option possible. So within my first 3 months, I had already started to create my own formula. I tried different things, and then came to my initial formula, which is what a lot of people are using. It's in the most part, it's some junction of natural oils and vitamins. Then later, I ended up adding a microneedle serum to that, which amplified my results when I use it in junction with my oils. At that point, well, and later on, so this is now entering to the end of 2022, I had dreamed that at one point in time, I'm going to create my own serum and bring that to market, and finally had the opportunity to do so last year. So I spent about 5.5 months or so, 5 to 6 months, researching ingredients, benefits of certain things, what active ingredients could be used together with others and what don't play well with others, for lack of better terms, and ended up creating my own list of ingredients. From there, I started working with a chemist, and then we created samples. I then trialed the samples with 12 individuals, all having phenomenal results. Their results were as good, if not better, than what I was already doing. But the big selling point, what really got me excited about it, was cutting the healing time down. This was not something I was planning for or trying to accomplish, but it's a huge blessing, to be honest, because as most of us know, when we work with inkless, the average healing time, and doesn't matter the junction of serums or oils that you're using, it's typically 5 to 6 weeks on average. There are some cases that are shorter, definitely with Fitzpatrick wines, people that are prone to hyperpigmentation, etc. They could even be much longer than that. 9 of the individuals from my trial were this a typical average client who should have been falling in that 5 to 6 week healing window. They were all healed within 2 to 3 weeks. I had 3 of them actually that were done in 12 days. And it was just shy of 2 weeks. It was a huge jump out of your seat excitement moment. The other 3 should be on that extended scale. 2 are very prone to hyperpigmentation. One's so bad, we treated her stretch marks on her thigh and she bruised across all of them, which I've now treated over 1,100 individuals. She's the first I've ever seen that happen to. And then the other one was just very fair skinned client, Fitzpatrick one. So all three of them I would have expected to be on that extended scale past with my other serum or a combination. Would have been typically 7, 8, possibly 10 weeks even. They were all healed within 4. This is a great moment for the industry because one of the biggest issues that we face as practitioners is the slowdown during the summer. So when you start telling a client, hey, 5 to 6 weeks of healing, and they're like, I'm going to Jamaica in 4 weeks, so I got a wedding in 3, or whatever the case is, this starts to really limit who we can take in during the summer and really challenges our creativity in marketing. This product now, Formula 3 by Artemis, which is my supply company, really helps us gain more clientele during what could be a slow time. So I'm excited about that. It is also medically grade. It's literally manufactured from a manufacturer that creates probably a third of the product on the shelves there in Ulta or Sephora. So it's definitely high grade. Everything's well taken care of, well resourced properly. They provide everything I need as far as MSDS sheets and all that kind of stuff. So I'm very confident in it. I love it. It's performing great, well for me. And it's just an exciting moment for myself here as we launch this product.
I love it. And then for my mentees, as you guys know, we also recommended another serum that's similar to Sean's. And so when I had asked him, because I'm going to try not to name that brand, when I had asked him about the differences between the other serum and his, well, a couple things is this is actually shipped in the US. So it makes you getting the product a lot easier and faster than the other brand. And then the other thing is that Sean is in the industry. He's still taking on clients. Whereas with the other brand, and there's nothing wrong with that other brand, but she's so far removed from actually doing the services. And I think that's one of the things that makes his product or differentiates his product from that other product is that he's literally still in the treatment rooms, treating clients. Can you share what they are? Because they are different than the other one.
Yeah. So what you're saying, so first thing is I don't drop ship. I actually have all the inventory on hand and I get it out really quick and I always ship express. So once it's sent out anywhere in the US, it's typically there within 2 to 3 days, unless it's just incidents that happen with the post office themselves. But it's sent right out ASAP, which is a nice thing because let's be honest, a lot of us are terrible, myself included, at keeping inventory. It's one of those things when you go to reach for it, you're like, I got maybe a couple more out of this and I need it now. You don't want to be turning around and waiting another month, month and a half. The other thing too is I am a practitioner and a practicing practitioner. I believe that that's very critical. I see a lot of individuals that get strung up and caught up in training only, and they only want to train individuals, which I get. It's good income, but we're talking about a skill. And so one thing for me is to constantly be polishing and sharpening my tools. And so what I'm getting at is this other product that is out there, the company does pretty well, safe to use definitely, but when I utilize the product, I witness things right off the bat I don't like. It had a tacky feel to it. It just seemed like the machine didn't want to pick it up. It wasn't, for lack of better terms, user friendly. And the reason I can witness these right away, because again, practicing practitioner, I know what right looks like. The other individual isn't a practitioner, and she'll openly say that. And I would highly respect her as an individual and what she's done and accomplished and will continue to do. She's doing wonderful things. But just in comparison, and this is just being an honest truth, when individuals that have already been utilizing my product in comparison to that one, I've been hearing nothing but great reviews that are on my end.
Perfect.
When it came to developing my serum, I wanted to research things that were going to perform the best or hopefully render the best results that are for things that are meant for like fine lines, hydration, wound healing response, cellular turnover, stuff like that. So the initial serum I was using had some interesting ingredients, and I did use a couple of those and then researched some other ones and added. So what my active ingredients consist of is first is hyaluronic acid, then it has EGF and then FGF growth factors, and then it has peptides and vitamin E. Those are the active ingredients. And I want to put the blame on the healing response due to the peptides, to be completely honest. They are known to speed up healing results along with firming the skin. They are used to address fine lines and wrinkles and hydration. So when I think introducing that ingredient specifically was what really amplified the results.
Can you explain, as if I was a kindergartner, what are peptides and what's the growth factors?
Okay. So peptides could be used. Peptides are short chain amino acids. They're going to help amp up your collagen production, which is going to help your elasticity of your skin, get that bounce back. When we pour, like our stretch marks on set, what happened is you were losing elasticity at that point, or it didn't have enough elasticity to keep up with the growth at that time, say a pregnancy or weight gain. We can gain stretch marks from rapid weight loss, just too fast of a reduction and probably missing hydration in your skin at that time. But in general, that's where the peptides are going to come through. FGF growth factors and EGF growth factors, they play slightly different roles. One's going to help with tissue regeneration. That's going to be the FGF. The other one is the EGF, helping with cell growth repair. So helping with the cellular turnover and the reconstruction of all that. Usually when you find ingredients that contain FGF, they usually contain EGF as well. They usually marry each other.
Okay. And is that something that's already found in our bodies? And same thing with the peptides, or no?
They can be, yeah. These ones are synthetically based.
Okay. Do we produce peptides or growth factors?
We-
How we produce hyaluronic acid, but obviously the hyaluronic acid that we use is not.
Correct. So now with the peptides, we do have growth factors in our body. And you also have like human growth factors. And some people actually have seen using or attempted to use stuff like that along with like stem cells. But I don't know, I feel like that's for some lines.
Does anyone have any questions at this point for Sean that wants to chime in?
I don't even know there's other people in here. I thought we were just recording.
No, there's a couple of other people. Okay, well then why don't I let me share my screen and I'll show you guys what his product looks like. And then
I got some right here actually. So this is the serum, the box of the presentation. So, and it comes with three bottles. All of them are the same. There's a rubber dropper bottle add on there. It's actually not it. The rubber dropper is just like this. It goes on top of the vial, allowing you to regulate the dispense of it with drops. Really easy to use. The top has a seal on, factory seal. And once that's removed, then you would apply that rubber dropper on there. Each of these are 10 milliliters in total. So the set comes with 30 milliliters. And then we also offer an aftercare cleanser for your potential clients to take with them. The whole intention is because it's fragrance free and antibacterial. So that way they don't have any issues with fragranced items as they're healing. And then as well with a treatment cleanser that's used usually during pre and post treatment.
and that when we were talking, obviously everyone's body type is so different and the areas can drastically differ as well. But typically for just one of those 10 milliliter vials, how many areas would you say on average?
Yeah.
You can-
From my experience so far, it's been on average is about 5 or 6 per bottle.
Okay.
And
So
I'm pretty generous with it, completely honest.
yeah. So I would think maybe 3 to 4 clients per vial or something like that.
I mean, it really depends. I would say probably 60% of my clients are a single area. So the other 40 having 2. For me, so my price point, I know we're actually quite different, but you could easily be profiting $2,500 a bottle, which shouldn't be an issue at all.
Okay, perfect. And then I'm going to share my screen real quick because I do want to share Michaela's.
Yeah, I wish she was here right now because I told her my bet is Monday.
All right, guys. So here is a closer photo, obviously, of what Sean already showed us. So this is how his packaging goes or comes with. And then you can see the ingredients here. I know it's small on my screen, but he will have the ingredients listed here. It comes like this, super easy to use. And then this is what we've been experimenting with instead of, gosh, what is the soap that we use?
Well, that green soap.
HIPAA
What was that, babe?
Cleanse was the newer product you were using.
Yeah, right. So instead of using that one, we've been using his. His actually comes out really nice, but it's basically like a green soap, but kind of foamy. So you don't have to dilute it or anything like that. So we've been using that. And then I wanted to show you Michaela's. And so here was her before. And then here is her, obviously, immediately after we tattooed her. This is her 1 week post right here. And this was taken Friday. And I'm going to show you an up close of that. So with 2 weeks, that's pretty good. I mean,
She's almost there.
redness. Yeah, a lot of that redness and darkness has gone. I can tell that her stretch marks are a lot flatter because you can see some of the ridges and the deepness here. I mean, she'll definitely need another touch up, as you can see along here. But for the most part, when I saw her 2-week post, like last week in person, I was like, holy, she's healing really, really fast.
I have a client video on my page. Hers results were just like mind blowing. She contacted me on the 5th day and we treated her thighs. Her 5th day is gone. All the hyperpigmentation is gone. The stress marks are gone. Luckily, hers were on the newer side. I want to say they were like 5 years or so old. But in general, it was day 5. I was like, there's no way. I was like, are you serious? She's like, literally like in the video she sends me, you can hear her voice in the background. She says, where did they go? They're gone. It's crazy. So I've been seeing a lot of people sitting around that 12-day, 15-day mark. I'm sorry, I forget her name. The lady that modeled that works with you. Okay. So her, looks like she falls right there, like a Fitzpatrick 1-2. So she's definitely on that end where it could take a little longer. But I'm telling you, I think it's probably gone today or tomorrow, that hyperpigmentation wise.
Yeah, and I'll see her this week, and I'm thinking she'll probably be healed really quickly by this week too. And the other thing that's a little bit different too, and then Christina will get your question. The other thing that's a little different too is that correct me if I'm wrong, Sean, but you use this serum even on newer stretch marks. So how, like, stretch marks just have to be how old for you to be able to use this serum?
So for myself, I've just done this for the last 2.5, pushing 3 years. I asked for 3 months, at least 3 months or older, to the best of their knowledge. Now, when they're new and when they have a color hue, I definitely am more reserved with my machine settings. I like to lower it down to a 1 millimeter at least, and then a lot more gentle and cautious just with them during that. But I personally still treat them that new. I actually just had one yesterday. She was 4 months. So with this serum, so I'm excited to see her results the next couple of weeks.
Love it. Okay, Christina, go ahead and unmute.
Yes, I had a question for you, Sean, about when you tell your clients what to do during the healing process. Do you ask them to do things like drink more fluids and completely avoid alcohol and things like that in 2 weeks or so?
Actually, I don't, but actually, I've never even thought about that. That's actually really good questions.
Yeah, because
Are really good points to make because the hydration is definitely going to assist with the healing. Alcohol is something good that we should all be cutting out, myself included. But
hey,
no, no, pretty much for the pretty standard. I'm asking for no exercise for the first 3 days. No soap applied directly to the treated area for 3 days. After that is when I like them to start with our aftercare cleanser and do that for 30 days. And then no direct sun exposure for at least 30 days and no submerging of any type for 30 days. So like no hot tubs, jacuzzi, baths, even. I don't even want.
okay.
I'm pretty simple with that, but I actually like the hydration.
Yeah, so I've recently gone through a big surgery, and I've done a little bit of research on reducing caffeine days in advance, and stopping drinking anything, even wine, days in advance, and trying not to drink at all during that crucial healing stage so that your body can heal faster and better. And I'm wondering if you could start pulling that data in to your patients and
Yeah,
see a difference.
I understand the alcohol for the inflammatory aspect. You want to reduce the inflammation, but why the caffeine days? I
Oh,
understand different
caffeine.
things.
Yeah, caffeine can just keep less fluids in our system. It's a
Oh, that's
diuretic,
true.
dries us
Yeah,
out. So
it does dehydrate. Yeah, that
yeah,
makes sense. Okay. Yeah, I would have to give that a shot. I like that. That's a good one.
Anyone else have any questions for
I'm
Sean?
happy to I'm happy to get a discount for your product for those hot tips I just gave you.
And you know what? It's so funny.
Yeah.
I was waiting for
Please don't
something
close.
like, how much is this? And so that was a perfect segue.
Yeah, so I do have a steel price point to start with. It's 195 US. Right now, again, we only have the 3 products, but I have more things as well coming. We have biodegradable ink cups coming in both 12 millimeter and 15 millimeter. And then I actually have an aftercare oil blend with hyaluronic acid that is going to be releasing soon too. It's in production at this moment. So, and that is just the start of it. The whole intention of Artemis is to be the paramedical tattoo supply company for the industry. So we're going to be carrying here shortly. I'm working right now on some products for SMP. So we're going to have a couple different things for like aftercare, anti-shine products. Eventually we're going to get into needle lines, and then it's just going to continue to grow from there.
Anything else? Any other questions?
Can I ask a quick question? Sorry, I
Sure.
don't have my picture of me up, but I'm just curious, Sean, what areas have you worked on? Because looking at your page, you've obviously worked on all different types of areas, but specifically with this new serum that you've created, are you
Mhm.
just working on like certain areas? I feel like I saw on your page that you've done acne scars and
Yes.
other
I
things
actually
like
have used
that.
it for acne scars that have results, but I haven't gotten adequate photos back. And unfortunately, I'm sure we all witness it where you get the return photos and they're just not going to cut it. But I won't return. I won't reject anybody part. I've had this serum now. I've had this. I had samples back in August and then again in October. And then from the manufacturer, I just got that in the beginning of December. So it hasn't been that long. I have worked with obviously the glutes. I've worked with the chest, the arms, shoulders, inner thigh, outer thigh, hamstrings, pretty much everything. But I mean, even before that, I've worked with everything, literally the front of the knee. I've had stretch marks on the ankle. I've had them on the forearm even. And I'll still continue that same approach.
How soon have you seen Fitzpatrick 5 and 6 heal with it?
I actually just had one 2 days ago.
Okay.
So that was the first Fitzpatrick 6 that I've had. I don't get a lot, to be honest, of 5s and 6s. I had, I have a 5 coming back. She was a part of my sample. She healed a lot faster. And actually with the oils, with the oil blend in that serum that I was using previously, she was definitely on the extended scale. She took about 10 weeks to heal. She actually made me a little nervous, to be honest. But I just treated her with Artemis and she told me she was pretty much healed by the fourth. So that was definitely great. And she's coming back to me this week on Friday in Houston. So, but as far as the 6, I just had one just 2 days ago. So I'm going to track her results.
Awesome. I would say 10 weeks for Fitzpatrick 5 is still pretty good or pretty fast. And then I was just in Albuquerque this weekend and I brought your serum in. And so I
Nice.
did everyone with the serum to track them and they were a Fitzpatrick 4. So we'll see how they do.
Okay. Nice. Yeah. Let's track that. If you look when you look at my page at all, and to those that are watching, if you see the Artemis logo on it, instantly know that one is one that I use the Artemis logo. So I always put my own Apollo, but if there's Apollo and Artemis, that means I use the Formula 3 and I'll state that in the caption. That's an easy way to look those up and see some results.
Awesome. Anyone else have any questions?
Oh, yes, I have a question.
Yeah.
We had Artemis 1 and Artemis 2, and those were rejected, huh?
So, so it's funny that you mentioned that. So the Formula 1 was I decided I was trying to come up with a name. So first when I was coming up with the name for the serum, I wanted to use clear. And I made the design and everything like that. And then I was going to call it Clear by Artemis. And right after, I literally sent it off to the manufacturer to mock up the prints. And then that just felt like a little too easy. And that other individual that we didn't name earlier, I opened the cabinet and her bottle's sitting there and it's cold clear. I was like, oh, dang it. So I just scrapped that. And I got to come up with something. And I've always tried to be creative. And so I'm trying to think, well, what can I do? What can I do? And so I wanted to use a number. There's something about Chanel number, whatever, the way that it's structured. I just like the look. It looks clean and elegant. And then that's when it dawned on me. I was like, well, this is technically my third iteration. So my first iteration was when I created my own oil blend. My second iteration was my oil blend with that microneedle serum. And then now my third is now this product here. So I call it Formula 3. And also I couldn't go Formula 1 because Formula 1 is that's a sport.
Wait, so yeah. Thank you, Sean. This is really interesting how you're developing these lines.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm glad you're doing it because it's a lot of work.
Yes, it is. I got a couple new things coming out. I wish I could talk about because I'm excited, but they're still very new in idea and waiting on some samples of things. And once that comes out, I'm definitely going to blast it. You're going to hear about it, but it's exciting. I like the production side. I like the creativity entity of it and all that. So that's exciting. And you have a question?
Hi, Sean. Thank you
Mhm.
for coming and talking about your product. I have a Fitzpatrick 5 inkless coming up, so I think I'll pick up a box and try it out on her. So thank you.
Love to see it.
I was just
Yeah.
kind of curious. What did you do before you got into this? Were you into tattooing already? Because it does seem like you have a good amount.
As a customer, I was. No, depends how much time you guys got. Long story, kind of condensed. At 19, I left for the military. I was in the military for 5 years. I served with the U.S. Army active duty, and then I left active duty in 2013, and I started a clothing company in the fitness industry. So I ran that for 7 years, predominantly online. That was really not self-sufficient. So I always worked jobs around that, anything from logistics to hosting to power sports sales, brand ambassador for Audi, a private college. I was also a barber. And then I also went to school the traditional route. So I did like small business and management, and I also did photography and graphic design. A lot of this, I stumbled around for like 8 years. I really didn't hold a single job for more than a year. And in reality, was just trying to find my way. But I got introduced to this because lastly, I was a barber, cutting hair. I was about to open a barber shop. And there was this girl who was trying to network with me. So she did browsing SMP. She seen a way to cross market her SMP that sparked interest. I got into SMP, and then it snowballed into this all.
Right on. Thank you. I can completely relate to having a whole portfolio of different careers. So
Mhm.
don't beat yourself up about that.
Oh,
It's like
I
this is how
definitely
it all
don't.
comes together sometimes.
No,
But
no, I have a segment I'll release later, a long form, kind of breaking it down. But the whole intention is like some people will look at my resume and be like, oh, this guy has commitment issues. Some will look at it like he was just trying to find his way, and others would be like, he probably gained a lot of experience. And at the time, 30 years old, I was stepping into 30, literally gaining stress alopecia because I had a baby on the way. I didn't want to be a crappy dad, and I didn't have direction as far as career. And then it all happened that year, or the next year, starting to find everything. And all of those failures at that time taught me micro lessons that I applied when I stepped into this industry. So my clothing company taught me how to operate on social media. Working for Audi taught me the art of sales. The private college taught me how to work with all kinds of different people of all kinds of different backgrounds and being able to speak up. When I was in the military, I taught weapons safety and operations. So I had an aspect of how to teach and relay things in a way that's easy to obtain, and so on and so forth. And so all these little micro lessons played their role when I got here. I was literally just talking about this yesterday with a trainee, that if this would have happened 10 years prior, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't have gained the success that I have in the short time that I've done it, because I hadn't gained the experiences to allow me to have it later in life.
Yeah, that's so
So I
true.
support it. Fail and fail often.
Love that. I love hearing about people's backgrounds. Let's see. We got one more. Let me just double check the chat. Oh, someone was just wondering, do you use numbing cream?
Good question. So I've heard a lot of debates about this. I definitely won't do it when I do camo, just because it has a possibility of rejecting the E. I do allow it because I haven't seen where it's limited results or allowed me to not have results. I don't like to do it that much, to be honest, because for me, most of about 60% of my clients are just getting a single area done. I'm typically done with a single area within 30 to 45 minutes on average, unless it's just an abnormal situation. A good numbing cream like tack takes like 45 minutes to onset. So I'm pretty much doubling my appointment time to make it a fraction better. Most of my clients will claim that it's about a 3 on a scale of 1 to 10 as far as pain. Now, obviously, if it was like an 8 or 9, I'm just going to do it. I'll numb them. It would have been part of the process. But if I have somebody who's very adamant, I'll just give them directions and like send them a link to like Zenza on Amazon or something and have them do it it's like an hour before the appointment. So that way they get here, they're already numb. But that's a good question. I actually meant to ask you that. Do you like to, or do you prefer to stay clear of it?
No, I don't numb at all because, again, I just don't want to create any sort of barrier from being effective in the skin. So regardless if I'm doing ink or if I'm using a serum, I just don't want anything to create a barrier because I figure we're already working on compromised scar tissue. But I will say though, for the most part, I mean, I think at least from my experience, when clients come in and they're so worried about it, they actually work themselves up way more to the point where we actually start tattooing them. They're like, oh, it's not that bad. Or, oh, it's a 3 or 4. And so I almost like I tell our students, like I let them run the circus in their head, like as they're filling out the consent forms. They're like, oh my God, you don't use numbing cream and da da.
Mm.
I almost let them kind of run wild so that it works to my advantage, because then when we're actually getting to work, it's kind of like that thing, like you always expect the worst, but it rarely ever happens. And so that usually works to my advantage.
Yeah, when I have a client who has tattoo experience, they're like, what's the pain like? And then they express, or I see that they have tattoos. I'll let them know it's easier than that. And they usually they're like, oh, okay. And then more times than not, I'll have a client come in and they are the ones that are worked up. once we get started, they're like, this is what a tattoo's like. Like they think it's nothing. And I'm like, no, don't go make an appointment based on this. You're going to be in for a whole world of a wake up when you get a real tattoo. But I've thought about that and I've heard different arguments about it creating another barrier. But personally, I've actually numbed my entire leg when I got tattooed and it was perfect. Like the tattoo healed amazingly. So at least from my own experience, again, you did mention scar tissue. So they are scar tissue and healthy tissue are going to be completely different, but I don't know. I'm not exactly opposed to it. I just don't make it a habit. I know some people that really want to just because they don't want to see somebody fidget at all. I get it, but I don't have a problem with it.
Yeah. No, I haven't I've never, but I know that some artists do, and everyone runs their own business, how they want to do it. But I haven't had anyone ever walk out or be like, no, I can't do it because you don't use numbing. So I figure,
I've had one person tap out.
yeah.
Yeah, just one. But then she redeemed herself a year later. She came back, sat through it, was able to get through it. But everybody's pain tolerances are different. Every once in a while we see somebody who's very sensitive. And literally the following appointment could be the same exact area on roughly the same style client. And she's like about to fall asleep because she's relaxed. I had one fall asleep just like a couple months back. It's all different for everybody. But yeah, I don't reject the idea. I just don't make it a habit.
Yeah, that's fair. And then I also think with laser, most of our clients have had laser sessions done, and
That's
that
way
was
worse.
an advantage too. Yeah, because they're always like, "Oh my God, it's not as bad as laser," so that helps. All right,
That's actually a good point. I should ask them, have you had laser done? Yeah. Oh my God, it's easier than that. And then they'll probably be
yeah. We have another question for you. Is your serum exclusively for stretch marks? Because I know you also do scar lightening, so that's different. Than this serum is different than what you're using for scar lightening.
Yes, I get asked this one a lot, and I feel like I've seen practitioners like on Instagram claiming that they offer scar lightening, and all they're doing is the same thing that they're doing, or the
It's
same exact
rejuvenating.
ingredients that they're doing, and this doesn't make sense to me at all. Can an SMR treatment or an E-plus treatment technically lighten some hyperpigmentation? To a fraction of an extent. And in my opinion, like if you have to have 10 sessions of lightning, there's a problem already. Like that technique is not good. I mean, I do not use this to lighten scars. I pretty much say that there's like 3 pillars of scar treatments in this industry. You're going to have scar lightening with the intent to address hyperpigmentation, dark scars, right? You're going to have camouflage to address hypopigmentation, lighter scars. And then you have scar revision. Scar revision's intention is to address texture, right? So like in some cases, you're going to use a combination of 2, maybe all 3. All 3 will be more rare, but I have personally had it. Like, so for instance, let's say you have a tummy tuck. The tummy tuck's white, but there's aggressive texture. You can go right into camo, but the problem is that it's not going to do anything for the texture. But the eye will still be drawn to the texture. So my approach would be, let's reduce the texture, smooth that out, and then camouflage the hypopigmentation, right? And then you really drastically reduce the visibility of the entire thing, right? Revision is not something that's highly used, but it does play its role, right? And so what I use for revision is SMR inkless. The reason I call it scar revision is to have a separator, right? I have a slight difference in how I operate the machine in its settings, but overall, like the ingredients are the same, but with just the intent of addressing texture. Now, with that said, I'll make one note. You can work with very superficial hyperpigmentation, like a curling ironburn. So with something like Formula 3 or like the ingredients I used to use in the past, I've actually relieved that hyperpigmentation. That's very superficial in comparison to, say, a hyperpigmented tummy tuck.
Okay, perfect. Obviously, they can find you on Instagram. I'm sure they already have. Are there any other places or anything else that you want?
I mean, I have a TikTok, but I'm terrible at it. Yeah, it's pretty much Instagram's really the best one. My main professional one is Mr. Bye Stretch Marks. And then I do have a just like overflow account, just so nobody takes it, which is Apollo Ink Solutions. So if you see one with like a couple hundred followers or the 55,000, which one's which? Then there's Artemis Supply Company. That's artemis.supplyco is our Instagram. And then mine is Mr. Stretch Marks.
And then
You can always reach out to me there.
And then just to confirm, what is the website that they can actually buy the product?
Yeah. So the website will be Artemis Supply Co. ArtemisSupplyCo.com.
Okay, perfect. All right.
Right.
Well, thank you so much. And I'll
Appreciate
keep you updated on how the other clients are doing. I'll just make a note that after or on Friday, I'll have Michaela update us on where she's at for her 3rd week.
But yeah, you can contact her today. My bet's today. Just that.
Okay, what are we betting? Is there
No,
something?
I told her, because when she tagged us in the Friday post, I told her, I bet it's Monday. Monday, you're going to be clear of the hyperpigmentation.
Okay.
Because it was right there. It looks like it's maybe 2 more days, 3 days.
Awesome. Well, I'll check in with her right now.
All right. You guys have a great one. I enjoy you guys' time, and I appreciate you chiming in with me.
Thank you so much for tuning in. I'd love to connect and help you more. If you have a question you'd like for me to answer, please send it to jade@studioconceal.com. That's JAYD@studioconceal.com, and I might highlight it on my podcast. I find what's often personal is most general. So if this episode helped you, please share it with a friend who may need the encouragement and inspiration. I'll catch you on the next one.